Lila Peterson of Spokane had nagging questions about her mother, Jessie Cline Peterson, who died in 2014. She took a sound recorder and visited her elderly uncle and aunt, Jay and Phyllis Klein, in 2016. Among the stories that Uncle Jay told, Lila began to learn about the Kleins and their life of crime.
My very first attempt at stealing something, I don't know how old I was, probably three and a half. We were living in Conrad, Montana. And I had one of them little scooters, and Penny's store was down not too far from where we lived. And there was one of these caps that used to be the rage. And here is one that really looked like I needed it. It had brown and white checks. So I went down there the next day and I parked my scooter out on the sidewalk for a quick getaway. I went in and I had my coveralls unbuttoned down the front. And I went in and I snagged that cap and stuffed it in there and out the door. Got on my getaway vehicle and I had me a brand new cap.
As the stories unfolded, she discovered that the Kleins were responsible for dozens, even hundreds of thefts in Montana, Idaho, and Washington from the 1930s through the 1960s.
So we backed up to the Safeway store. We hooked a big log chain on that safe. And Leonard was driving the Cadillac, and he that store and that safe was going everywhere.
Jay's parents, Lee and Leon Klein, trained their children to steal farm produce and animals for food. Also, tools, appliances, anything of value. Father Lee Sr. would go on the nighttime capers, and Mother Leon was adept at shoplifting.
And it was the very best stuff that they had on the shelves.
The second to the youngest son, Jay, became the ringleader of what would become the Klein gang.
But like I said earlier, I was probably one of the most efficient thieves.
Prolific.
Prolific is the word I was thinking too.
No, prolific too, but I was very efficient. If I took a notion that I wanted something, you better be sleeping on it.
But it's not like today where there's cameras everywhere.
No, it would be different. You'd never get away with it now.
Although Jay Klein often worked as a mechanic between stints in jail, he rarely stopped stealing. A major arrest in 1955 put most of the family, even the matriarch Leon, in jail. For a short time, Jay was the most wanted man in the region, after police found caches of stolen property in multiple locations.
But they knew who they were looking for, but they didn't know how to find me or them. Well, they finally somehow got a clue as to his license number, and they tracked him down, my dad, and they followed him when he come out of there. They come tearing in there one evening about, 8 or 9 o'clock. I had a hunch something was wrong.
The sordid family history still didn't answer Peterson's questions about her own mother. Lila repeatedly tried to ask about the shooting that killed her stepfather, Don Folkman, in Kellogg, Idaho.
I couldn't trust what she'd tell me.
In 1980, Jessie, also known as Fizz or Fran, said an intruder broke in and murdered her second husband. But police work was sloppy, there were no witnesses, and the gun could not be found, so Jessie was never charged.
When Don was killed and all that happened, it was craziness. But later, I really felt that my mother did it.
Uncle Jay said that Folkman had been cheating and was going to divorce Jessie.
When her and Don started having troubles, and Don was gonna claim everything, leave her out on the street.
Even more vague were stories that Jessie was involved in the death of Alvin Bud Matlock, with whom Jessie was having an affair in 1951 while married to Bob Peterson. Matlock's body was never found.
But Bud was driving by the house, and somehow him and Peterson got into a brawl. I'm not sure who shot him, but Bud was shot and killed in the fight.
Okay.
As far as I could ever determine, Bud was put in the furnace in the old house.
Peterson also learned that Bob Peterson likely was not her biological father.
So somehow out there, I do have another dad, and I may never ever know who that is. Well, I mean, there's no way to ever find out. I mean.